Hello and welcome. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Georgie from Healing Moons, and today we're going to be looking at the Mercury Retrograde. If you're watching this at the time of upload, we are going to be going into Mercury Retrograde very soon, which is why I thought that I would do a video on this. So the Mercury Retrograde that we're going into on the 14th of January is Mercury Retrograde in Venus. This will be lasting to the 4th of February. If you're watching this at a later date, we also have another one, or you might want to note these. We have another one from the 10th of May through until the 2nd of June, and then the 9th of September through until the 2nd of October. And the last one of the year kind of overlaps between this year and next year. So it starts around the 29th of December and then goes through into the 18th of January. 2023. When Mercury goes into retrograde at the end of the year, it's going to feel very much like everything's slowing down. So you might be wondering, what does Mercury retrograde mean and what has it got to do with me? So Mercury retrograde, or any retrograde, is when the particular planet that we're referring to looks like it's going backwards through the sky. From our point of view and where we are, it looks like it's going back on its course to a starting point before it moves forward again. There are different planets that do this throughout the year, but the one that we focus on the most is Mercury because of the way that it affects or can affect us and the things that we should be focusing on at the time. It's an opportunity to review at these normally 4 points during the year, and it can affect us up to a week before it begins and a week after. So I thought it was quite important to touch upon. We're starting the year obviously in Mercury retrograde, but we're also in Venus because Venus is also retrograde at the moment. And this started at the beginning, end of last year. So this makes it a time to weigh up what it is that you value, what you really value, and follow your gut feeling on this. So this can also, because of it being a Venus retrograde, it can relate to our relationships and whether they be romantic or platonic as well. So generally speaking, I just want to kind of run through the different points that we need to be focusing on during a Mercury retrograde, and it's not just this one. There will be more specific things towards the end, but these points at the moment are just going to be what we need to focus on in any Mercury retrograde. So make sure that you should have numbered these really, but when you're signing any contracts or taking anything out, make sure that you read everything twice before signing it, because Mercury retrograde can affect communication. So when it comes to things like this, make sure that you read everything twice, just in case you miss something. Also, it's a great time to renegotiate existing contracts or agreements as well. Expect delays, whether it be that you're travelling or you're waiting for something to arrive, something's travelling to you. So it's probably going to be affecting postal services, I would have thought. But make sure that you allow extra time just in case there's cancellations, delays, or anything like that as well. It's also a great time to renew your commitments to things. So instead of making new ones, it's a good time to finish out things that you've already started a while back but have yet to finish. Also, if you're planning on purchasing something, if you're planning on purchasing something big, making a big purchase, this is a great time to compare prices for something that you're planning on buying later on. So you can have a look, review them, decide what one you want to get and things like that, but hold off on your purchase. Leon's ears. Hold off on your purchase until after the retrograde has finished. Also, it's a great time to declutter. So give away old items. You can have a clear out of anything that doesn't bring you joy anymore, that you don't need or use, and then give them to charities to make use of. If you've been looking for a job, then this is a great time to reapply for a job that you wanted, or to rewrite your CV. Also, if you've been studying something or you started a course but haven't completed it, this is a great time to return to it and continue those studies that you haven't completed as yet. Also, because Mercury retrograde will affect technology, so make sure that you've got everything backed up and everything's charged, whether that be your mobile, computer, laptop, whatever. Make sure you've got all your information backed up just in case something goes wrong with it, because electricals are known to go on the fritz during a Mercury retrograde. So just in case, so you don't lose all your data, make sure you back those up. And it's also a great time to get together with old friends, people that you haven't seen in a long time. And you can also expect to hear from people or bump into people randomly that you may not have seen in years. So it's kind of one of those synchronicity kind of times where they'll just be turning up at strange moments. Also, it's a good time to read all of your emails and documents before sending. Obviously, it's part of that communication thing, same with the contracts. Make sure that you double read everything before you send it, just in case there's a bit of a typo in there and it comes across completely wrong. Also, make sure that you pause and breathe before before speaking. I know I've kind of run through these quite quickly, which is the complete opposite of what I should be doing in a Mercury retrograde. But I'm kind of conscious of the time and wanted to make sure that it was all jammed in for you. But yeah, make sure that you pause before speaking, and also repeat yourself if necessary, because this is a time where there can be miscommunications, and because we've also got, at the time of recording and when this goes up, we've got a full moon coming up as well. So emotions are going to be high because of the lunar phase that we're in and part of the cycle, which is then going to have a knock-on effect with the Mercury retrograde that's going on. So there is a chance that emotions are going to be running high. Communication is going to be a bit on the fritz and off and things like that. So yeah, kind of make sure you're coming from a grounded place as much as possible, because although you're maybe aware of how this is going to affect people and us, it's not just you that's experiencing it, it's going to be a planet-wide thing. So although you're aware and can use that to your advantage, a lot of people aren't going to be aware of the planetary alignments, the lunar phase that we're in, and how it's going to be affecting them in their everyday life and their emotional state. So if you can kind of go easy, not just on yourself, but also on other people as well, to kind of smooth things over a little bit at this time. Because at the moment, we can kind of be a bit careless and mistake prone and forgetful. So kind of try and keep that in the back of your mind as well at the moment while we're in this phase, because Mercury is a teacher. So this is a great opportunity for us to learn from what's going on, what we've already done, what's coming in, and just kind of use it as a moment to reflect, review, and revisit those things that we've been putting off or that we've been meaning to get round to. This is a great time to revisit those and either review them to see if they're still important, or to actually take action steps on them. So if you're trying to move forwards and you want to take action steps and do new things, now is a great time to just kind of let things unfold naturally. You don't want to be making massive decisions right now because of how everything's going to be affecting, and a lot of the time if you take out new contracts or start new things, there's going to be quite a lot of bumps along the road if you start them now, because they may come to an end. So if you want them to be something that is long lasting, it may come to an end by the next Mercury retrograde, or there may be a lot of bumps along the road and it will need reviewing again by the time we go into Mercury retrograde again. Mercury retrograde is also a time that usually leads to more information coming in and coming your way. So if you are planning on doing something new or buying something big, like that big investment, if you're buying a new car, a new house, whatever that is, if you can, if it's possible, then try and wait until a week after the Mercury retrograde. Because of this new information that will be coming to you, if you wait until after the Mercury retrograde, then you're going to have all of the information, because it may come to you in dribs and drabs during the Mercury retrograde. So it's ideal if you can. If not, then obviously make sure that you read and reread the contracts to make sure that you have all of the information. Now, for this particular Mercury retrograde, this information will be a little bit more specific to this particular one that we're in right now, or going into, I should say. So this one is in, the planetary alignment is that it is Mercury retrograde in Venus. Now, Venus is the ruler of Taurus, which is the second house, bringing zodiac signs and astrology into this a little bit more deeply. This makes it a time to connect with nature, because Taurus is a very earthly, feminine energy type zodiac sign, because they all have different elements to them and different qualities that they bring. So it's also a time, because of the earthly nature of it, it's also a time to focus on practical matters, and you may find that you are thinking quite practically at the moment as well, and it might be quite a homely sort of vibe. So if you're getting back round to home renovations that you may have started, DIY projects, those sort of things, maybe a focus at this time. And if you need to become more organised and you're a bit like me, I suppose, a bit of a scatterbrain at times, this will come more to the forefront as well. So it's a great time to get organised. And if you're in the process of getting organised and you aren't completely on it all the time, it's definitely a time to try and make sure that you can do things on time and stick to your budget and look after your health. So these are going to be the most important things right now. These are especially important if you aren't organised, because you can kind of lose track. And also, if you are running a business, then this is a great time, like if you're self-employed in any way, shape or form, it's a great time to reconnect with old clients and follow up on business leads as well. So generally speaking, this Mercury retrograde is a great time to be reevaluating your goals. And if you work with crystals, then this is a good time to be cleansing, recharging and reprogramming them as well, to be working with them. Just kind of in that, as you would have gathered, it's that time of reevaluating, resetting things and reviewing and going back over things. So for your crystals and things like that, it's a great time to do that. Thank you for joining me for today's episode, And if you've enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up below. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't. And I will catch up with you in the next video. Until then, love and light. Take care. Bye.